Hi, and welcome to the Neoprene Playmat. I'm your host, Matt Piak, and this is Spend My Money Mondays, where we look at my monthly board game budget and how to spend it best. So if you remember from last time, we're down to $90.29, and I talked a little bit about how I have money wrapped up in Cosmic Frog that I haven't spent yet. So that's $52.99, and essentially, I'm just waiting to see when that comes out. It might leak into November and be a November purchase. It could be at the end of this month. If I purchased it at the end of this month, I'm going to have about $30 left in my budget. If I wait until November, which I could very easily do, as you know, my budget replenishes up to $100. So definitely something to keep my mind on while I'm looking at these purchases and talking about these different things, and always want to keep you guys in the loop. So if you remember where we were last time, I was looking at Gun and Gun. So this is a Kickstarter project going on right now. It's got this anime sort of feel. It's a head-to-head battling card game. What you end up having is you pick a character that and you select two guns with them, and each gun comes with its own deck. Every gun plays differently, and you're actually drawing from two different decks throughout the game. Now, I was kind of on the fence about this. I didn't know what I should do, and this is where a couple things came in handy. So Chaos Covers Games hopped on and said, hey, I'll play Gun and Gun with you on the demo on Tabletopia. Let's check it out. Let's see how it is. So went through and played it. If you've ever played card games like this on Tabletopia, it's not the best interface for it. It drags the game out a lot because of how slow it is moving cards around the board and things. But at the end of the day, I felt like I got a decent feel for it. And after playing, I was still on the fence. And I was still thinking, is this one I want? Is this one I don't want? Because it was good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I was captured by it. There's certain games I play and I just say, I have to own this. And this definitely wasn't striking that chord. And throughout the week, too, I watched a video put out by Board Game Co., where Alex was talking about 5 different ways he saves money. And one of the things he mentions is, are you on the fence? If you're on the fence, just walk away. Because later down the road, if you're all in, you will be able to find a copy. You might have to pay more for it, but at least at that point, you know you want it. If you're on the fence, you probably won't remember it after the campaign's gone. So as I began thinking about it, I decided that's what I'm going to do here. As cool as the artwork is, as cool as the theme is, as cool as the cards look, the overall game I didn't find captivating enough. That said, if you're interested in this one, you think it looks cool, I definitely recommend hopping on Tabletopia, trying to play it. The rules are really, really quick to read. I think it's like a 6-page rule book, 5-page rule book. And if you watch a how to play, you'll know pretty much most of the rules just from watching somebody play the game. So definitely recommend checking it out. It looks like we have how many days left here? So it's got 4 days to go. I'm recording on Sunday, so by the time you're seeing this, it'll be 3 days to go. So if this is something that interests you, something that you found intriguing, definitely go ahead and give it a back. For me, I thought it was a good game, but it wasn't enough to push me over the edge to drop the $40 that it would cost for the base game as well as shipping. All right, on to the next one. So this is Twisted Fables. If you watched my weekly roundup, I gave this game a quick shout out. The campaign's pretty short, so I wanted to make sure that I was covering it as much as I could, because this game looks absolutely fantastic. It's another dueling game. You know me, I like these 2-player head-to-head games. They're advertising $35 here, but then they also have the picture of the miniatures, and so just know that this $35 does not come with these miniatures. That's a little bit of maybe a false ad there. But I guess they did put over here that the deluxe edition is the one with the exclusive miniatures. Which, if you're backing this game, go for the miniatures. It's going to cost you more. I think it's $35 versus $75. But you get a lot of extra things in this. You You get an upgrade pack so you can play 2 versus 2. I believe you get the neoprene playmat in this, which is always good. Yeah, neoprene game mat. And then you get plastic token pack. You get a bunch of foil cards, which a lot of Kickstarters are doing this now. I wish they'd stop. Like, I don't really want to pay that much extra to have cards shiny. Maybe I'm in the minority here. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. But the miniatures look great, and then you get these storage trays and card dividers. It looks really cool. I think if you want the game, this $35 pledge, just the retail pledge, I wouldn't even worry about backing it now. You'll probably be able to get it cheaper after it delivers and whatnot. All that said, $75 with the shipping. The shipping's $15 or $20, something like that. It's going to put me at or maybe it's 18. I don't remember exactly. I can look it up here in a sec, but essentially it's putting me around $90, which is right where my budget is. This would be spending all of it, which would mean I'm out on a couple of games I really wanted to look at. And so I am a little worried about that, but I'm also thinking that maybe this is one I want to go in on. And once again, Chaos Covers Games is being helpful in the comments. He says, why don't you just back the $1 so you get Pledge Manager access? Now, typically, I never do this. One of the reasons is I end up getting myself into a spot where I feel like I can't walk away from it, right? If I put a couple dollars into a game, although it doesn't matter at all. If I lose $1 or $2, I just feel like I have to buy the game once I've put in for the Pledge Manager. Like that's a decision I've already made, and so that's my own thing. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can walk away from these games, but I get this like fear of missing out once that pledge is in. But that's certainly something I can do here. I mean, as I have read through this, so King of Average, I watch him a ton too. He's reviewed this really highly. He talks about how he keeps wanting to get back to it. I think he played with his 11-year-old daughter quite a bit, which is kind of cool. And then he pulls it out at work over lunch. So those are definitely things that perked my ears up as far as it being an accessible game. Sometimes you get these head-to-head games where it's not an easy entry point for people once somebody knows how to play. On top of that, the production looks great. You have these player boards, which they look a lot like the Zombicide boards, except with a larger spot for a card. If you're familiar with that game, they're like plastic trays. They have these little plastic like token inserts that you can move along to raise your defense. This one keeps track of your health up top. And I think this is some form of energy across the bottom. You are deck building. There's generic cards that you're going to be deck building with most of the game, but then you're also adding your Fable cards that I believe are in 3 separate decks, which makes every character, every time you play them, unique because you can build differently from those 3 decks. You can decide what you're going to specialize in. And so it just looks like there's a lot of replayability here. These relic cards flip out. They go onto kind of they make up the game board. If you have the neoprene mat, it lays it all out for you so you know exactly where they go, and they flip over and they do different things based on where you're at on the map. This deluxe edition, this thing looks pretty sweet with it's got like the pink and the blue kind of merging together. That really gives kind of like an 80s vibe. I always think the purple or the pink and blue, but that's definitely not a bad thing in my eyes. Here you get both expansions, which means more characters and more miniatures. And then look at these miniatures. They're crazy. So like Alice, the Cheshire Cat's like mechanical. You got Red Riding Hood, who has an artillery with her. Like she just has all these weapons. Little Mermaid's really interesting because she has legs, but she's laying on this big like octopus tentacle, which is totally different. Mulan's kind of like cyberpunky. I don't know if you saw the art up here. Let's see, where's Mulan? There she is. She's got like this blue shiny, I don't know how well you can see that, but it's like a shiny sword. It looks almost like a lightsaber. Sleeping Beauty, she is like in an insane asylum. When she wakes up, she like rips out of the bed that she's strapped to and everything. So it's just a really, really unique art choice and art direction. I haven't really seen many games that do this. The scale, these are pretty big miniatures. I like the fact that, this character is crouched over and she's on this, and so she's only 37 millimeters and this one's 55. So there's some differentiation in how the characters look. At the same time, Sleeping Beauty here isn't like out of proportion. She's not like way bigger than Match Girl over here. She's floating. She's in the air, so she's going to be a taller miniature. So I just like the scale of that, and I like the way it looks. They have a sneak peek here of all the miniatures and what they look like after they've been printed. I do believe these are 3D printed versions, not from like a manufacturer. So there's usually 3D printers are able to get a little bit higher detail a lot of times than the plastic they use for manufacturing. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, these expansions, they come with 2 characters each, which is super exciting, because in these types of games, really the most replayability comes out of multiple characters. So keep that in mind if you're interested in this style of game, Twisted Fables. The campaign, like I said earlier, is really short. I believe it ends in 11 days. And once again, recording on Sunday, so that's 10 days to go when you're watching this. But yeah, that's Twisted Fables. All right. Now, Townsfolk Tussle. I've talked about this quite a few times. This is one that I'm thinking I'm going to go in. There's been a couple things that have become hesitations in my mind. So highly recommend watching this video if it's something you're interested in that Quackalope put out. He goes through and talks about the game and the 5 reasons it's better than Kingdom Death Monster, which... If you know Jesse from Quackalope, KDM's his favorite game. So I don't know if he actually means it's better, but he definitely talks about how he's gonna get it to the table more because it is a one shots rather than this huge 60 to 90 hour campaign. All that said, my recent hesitation is that this definitely comes into that 2 to 3 hour mark as far as playing goes, and the amount of essentially the amount of time that it's going to take to complete a game. Once you start getting into that range, it becomes difficult for me to get games out. It's not impossible. Clearly, I play games like Spirit Island and things, so I can do it. It's just I don't have quite as many people to play with when a game goes for that length. So just something I'm thinking about. This comes out Tuesday. Really, that's going to push a lot of things into flow for me as far as what I'm backing if I decide to go in on this, because that'll then take Twisted Fables off the table. Look at that, I rhymed Twisted Fable off the table. Anyway, I'm excited to see what this is. I'm excited to see the miniatures. Right now, all of the prototypes that are out there have standees, but it will have miniatures in it, so I'm just curious to see what those look like as well. All right, moving on. So Spirit Island Jagged Earth. You may have heard this. You may know. I talk about it a lot. I'm not huge on expansions unless expansions add new characters to play. For whatever reason, if you have asymmetry and you have the ability to play more characters, I'm in. I'm sold. Those are the expansions I like. Don't change the game. Don't change the mechanics. Just give me more of the stuff I like. And so that's exactly what Jagged Earth does. And it's one I've been eyeing. Recently, my friendly local game store got a copy of it. It's marked for $60, and as you know, that's a decent amount of my budget, and I'm considering it, and I'm thinking about it. And I was in conversations with one of the members of the store, and he said, "Well, hey, we'll price match Miniature Market for you, or we'll price match whatever site you were looking to order it off of if you're interested." And so that would bring the game down to $42.99 for me, which is crazy that FLGS would even do that. They have a lot more overhead when you start talking about managing their store. They don't just have all their games set up in a warehouse somewhere. They have bills, a lot more bills to pay as far as inventory and just overhead costs and whatnot. It's just a different animal. So the fact that they would do that is really cool. So this is definitely on my radar as something I may potentially buy next week. If this is something I should buy, let me know down below. I know it's sold out a lot of places. It's pretty hard to find right now. And so that always makes me more intrigued with it. I know that after the Kickstarter, I think it's been in production for like 2 or 3 years too. So I don't know when the next reprint of it's going to be, but I know it's going to sell fast. So let me know what you think. Just know that if I go in on this, that may rule out some of the things like Townsfolk Tussle and Twisted Fables. So is getting an expansion for a game I know and love better than getting a new game that looks really intriguing and looks different from anything else I own? You let me know down below. All right. Mentioned a couple times here, Cosmic Frog. Just wanted to go back to it. I'm definitely buying this. It comes out end of October, early November. So that's just, I just wanted to put that here to keep that in the back of your mind, that money that I have, that $90, some of it's going to disappear. So keep that in mind. All right. Now, here's a couple more games. I'm on Power to the Meeple here. Once again, not sponsored in any way by Power to the Meeple. I like their store, and it's one that I often look to when I'm looking to order some games. And as you may have heard, a game called Strike has been recreated, and I've never played Strike. I've heard how crazy it is, though. There's a bowl in the middle, and you're rolling dice, and I believe you're making those dice fight. Like they're different fighters in a coliseum, and it's an arena dice combat game where you're actually rolling dice at each other, not at each other like me chucking dice at your face, but rolling them at like other players' dice and whatnot. So I don't know exactly all that's involved. I've heard about it for years. They reprinted it. It's available now in the US. So it's something that caught my eye. And given that I'm going to be adding Cosmic Frog to my alma mater order, and that I'm going to have kind of this $100 mark where I get free shipping, I'm thinking maybe now would be the time to add on some little games, if it's a good time to do so. So that's Strike. The next one I have here is the game Quick and Easy. I am a big fan of the game in general. I don't know if you've ever played this. It's a cooperative game where you have 4 rows, 2 of which are ascending, 2 of which are descending, and the ones that are descending are coming down from 100. The 2 that are ascending are coming up from 1, and the deck is made of cards 2 through 99, and you are trying to play all of them as a team cooperatively. You can skip as many numbers as you want as long as you are staying in order. So if you're going up on the ascending side of things, you can go from 1 to 5 to 13 to 16 and so on and so forth. But then there's a little rewind mechanic. So if you go, essentially, if you play a card within, or that's exactly 10 away from a card that's currently presented, you can go the opposite direction. So in that same row that we just talked about that was ascending, that went 5, 13, 16. If I had the 6 in my hand, I could play it on top of the 16 to rewind down to 6. All that said, I've played a lot of the game. I've really enjoyed it. This is a new take on it. Somehow colors are involved now, and that affects how cards can be played. I'm not really sure of all the details. I saw the game on it, and at first I thought it was the exact same one, just with a reskinning of different art and things, but heard on a couple podcasts that this is a new take, and so definitely wanted to check that out. And so that's something potentially too I could add to my cart when I get Cosmic Frog. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about Fort again. I mentioned this in my weekly roundup. Still, I've only played this game once. As you can see, it's beautifully, beautifully done. Production is fantastic. We have some photos over here. The artwork is great. The theme is great. You're a bunch of kids that are looking to build a fort, and you want to make sure you're playing with your friends so that they stick around. Otherwise, they might leave and go play with other people in the neighborhood. And so it's a little deck builder. And I guess what I wanted to talk about here with Fort is this idea of when do we buy a game? When does a game go from one we like and enjoy to one we have to have on our shelf? And for me, this has evolved over time. Initially, I was the only one bringing games to the group, so if I wanted to play a new game, I had to purchase a new game. That's just how it was. Where I'm at now in my life, I have a couple other people in my group that purchase games as well. I've also started trading games. I have enough of a collection that I can do some trades, which I haven't done that in a while, so I might have to do some trades here too in the upcoming months. You let me know if you'd like to see some more trades. That does come out of my budget when you start talking about shipping and things of that nature. But I'm always trying to consider, when does something get to the point where it's a must-have, where it's a must-buy, especially when you have a game collection of 200, 250 games like I do. And I've become a lot more strict in my criteria of what I want in a game. I mean, I probably have 100 games on my shelf that I don't play, and that hurts me. I'm like, why do I even have these? Should I just get rid of them all? And so Fort, for me, was one that I had a lot of fun with. I found it interesting. I really want to play again. My friend Eric has a copy of this, so this is one that we'll definitely be playing more of. And it's one that I want to play more of. But then again, I keep thinking about it, and I keep coming to this point where I'm like, I don't know if it's one I feel like I need to own, though. I don't know that it's one that is compelling enough to make me purchase it. And so I wanted to know, from your guys' perspective, what makes a game one that you feel like you have to put into your collection? What's one that makes, what are the factors that take a game over the hump of saying, this is a good game, I enjoy it, but now I need to buy it? Let me know down below, and I'd be happy to hear from you. This has been the Neoprene Playmat. Have a great day.